Hello and welcome to all. From a woman who gives birth after 13 months of pregnancy to a baby born at more than 10,000 meters of altitude, here are the 10 pregnancies that broke all records. Let's start. Large families are often overwhelmed by the most trivial tasks of daily life, such as doing the laundry or the dishes or taking out the trash. Imagine the chronic disarray of these poor parents who must manage their 5 children and their pets at the same time, while juggling the inextricable chaos of the house, which is sometimes transformed into a battlefield. But now imagine having to live with 16 children, each one more boisterous and mischievous than the last. If you think it must be hell, you're probably not far off, but we should still ask this North Palm Beach couple who had the courage to raise an entire rugby team plus their coach. David Reback and his wife Liette have a total of 10 sons and 6 daughters, all born entirely naturally without any C-sections. The very fertile Liette has spent more than a decade of her life pregnant and has gained and lost some 272 kilograms of weight throughout her 16 pregnancies. The 44-year-old and her husband have had many sleepless nights for bottles and diapers and have also had to endure 16 teenage crises in a row, which is quite a feat when you think about it. After 50 years of age, few women still dream of having children, not out of spite or lack of desire, but because the menopause has already caught up with them, and physically, it is now impossible for them to procreate. But the story that follows finally teaches us that we should never lose hope, especially when it comes to giving life. Jackie Dallenberg is a 56-year-old woman that nothing predestined her to get pregnant, starting with the fact that she hasn't been in a relationship for quite some time. But this old brave lady did not hesitate 1 second to help her young daughter Kim, and it was certainly not her advanced age which was going to prevent her from it. Except that the assistance that her daughter was looking for, suffering from infertility after a hysterectomy, was a surrogate mother because she was eager to have children with her new husband. Jackie Dallenberg volunteered to take on this role and was successfully implanted with her daughter's fertilized eggs in her womb. This old woman thus became pregnant after 3 unsuccessful attempts and at the very moment when everyone had lost hope. But it does not stop there, and nobody was at the end of its surprises. Jackie Dallenberg in first, because after 10 weeks of pregnancy, the first ultrasound revealed a big surprise. The old lady carried, in fact, 3 babies in her belly, what reveals at this stage the pure divine miracle. These triplets she is pregnant with are therefore her grandchildren, but also her children by birth, which is quite a headache to register them in the birth register. Among mammals, it is the elephant that has the longest gestation period, with no less than 600 days of pregnancy for the female, and can sometimes go up to 22 months. The human being, with its 9 months of gestation, is therefore a very pale figure in front of pachyderms or other species like dolphins or whales. But all women will agree to tell you that 9 months is a sufficient period and would not like for anything in the world to see it lengthen, even if it is only 1 day more. And we can easily understand them when we know the sufferings and pangs of pregnancy, with all the pain and discomforts of a changing body. But for Jackie Haddock, the pregnancy ended up turning into an ordeal that dragged on for a long time, until she lost the desire to have children forever. The incredible story of this young Englishwoman goes back to 1910, a very special year as she was about to celebrate the birth of her first child. But at the end of her 9th month, the young woman, then 23 years old, was turned away by the doctors of the maternity hospital because for these intractable whitecoats, Jackie would not be ready to give birth yet. She was thus invited to go back home and to wait a little more. But instead of a few days, it was weeks and soon months that she finally had to wait, because it is only after 13 months that the young British woman could finally give birth. It was thus 4 months of additional sufferings for this young mother, who had to endure 398 days of pregnancy in total. It is at least what she told, because she has always refused to provide evidence of her 13 months of pregnancy from her doctors. And between us, we find it very surprising a pregnancy so long. You wouldn't have lied anyway, Jackie. Anyway, still according to her, the birth went very well, and the couple welcomed a little girl of hardly 1.36 kilograms that she named Sarah. A human baby usually weighs 3.5 kilograms at birth, although this figure is a statistical average and therefore does not reflect the reality in every case. Many children can be born weighing less than 2 kilograms, and on the other hand, many more plump and chubby infants can reach 4 kilograms at birth. But one thing is certain, when it comes to weight, no baby can surpass Akbar, the real heavyweight of newborns. This huge Indonesian infant, born on the island of Sumatra, weighed in at 8.7 kilograms with a height of 62 centimeters. Akbar was born by cesarean section from a diabetic mother who had already given birth to 2 big children of 5.3 and 4.5 kilograms. Fortunately for the mother as well as the gigantic baby, the operation had gone smoothly despite the enormous risks that weighed on them. Akbar is now the pride of his parents, although they do have to spend a lot of money to get the milk cans to satisfy his gargantuan appetite, because the standard bottles are certainly not enough. Hosiama Tamara Sitole is a very special mom, and that's really the least we can say about her, since this young 37 years old South African gave birth to 10-fold babies, all born in a totally natural way. By giving birth to 10 babies at once, the young woman beat the previous record of the biggest litter established by Halima Cisse. This Malian resident had indeed given birth to 9 babies in a hospital of Morocco in May. Hosiama gave birth to 7 boys and 3 girls, who are doing wonderfully according to their happy parents. Motivated by a surge of generosity in the face of such a miraculous birth, people wanted to help this courageous mother. Donations started to pour in, and some of them were princely, such as the donation of $75,000 offered by the CEO of a large South African media group. The very happy mother of 10 found herself very quickly at the head of a beautiful fortune, enough to largely ensure the future of these little monsters. But while this nice fairy tale is coming to an end, we have to inform you that Mama Hosame was only an ugly imposter who would have created this birth story from scratch. The young South African had even staged photos of her pregnancy, where she appeared with an oversized belly, but which was in fact a pile of pillows carefully hidden under her clothes. After her arrest, her blood test showed that she had not even been pregnant in the last few months. Usually when a woman's water breaks, everyone rushes to the maternity ward in panic because it's the ultimate sign that the baby is on its way. But what do you do when you are on board an airplane, and moreover at 10,000 meters above the ground? It is certainly very difficult to imagine such a scene, so much it seems chaotic and improbable on board a flight. However, it is indeed what happened to a young passenger of an aircraft of the company Egypt Air during a flight from Cairo to London. The young woman named Hiyan Nasir Naji was quietly watching a movie on her individual screen when she felt the painful shock of the first contractions. She immediately realized that she was in premature labor and that she would have to give birth in the flight, as the plane was at an altitude of more than 10,000 meters. The pilot decided to land at the nearest airport in Munich, Germany, but the baby was in a hurry to get out. Fortunately, one of the passengers happened to be a doctor, so he was able to assist the young lady in giving birth, helped by the flight attendants. The high-flying mother and her newborn baby are doing very well, the latter having even won a lifetime ticket on board the Egyptian airline, which you will surely agree is a very nice birth gift. Raising children as a couple of short people can be a big responsibility, literally and figuratively, because the daily life of short people is punctuated by difficulties that are often insignificant, but which sometimes prove to be totally insurmountable for dwarfs. Turning the handle of a big door or taking something from a high shelf, for example, quickly becomes a real daily challenge. We let you imagine what could be the ordeal of a couple of dwarfs trying to take care of little bawling and hungry babies. However, this dwarf couple from Melbourne, Australia, shows us that nothing is impossible and that small people can provide as much love and attention like normal people. Alyssa Biddle, 29, and her partner, Jonathan Tripp, 40, were both born with dwarfism syndrome, which they passed on to their eldest daughter, Sienna, age 3. The young couple will be blessed with a second daughter in 2018, Bonnie, who inherited her parents' goodness but not their genetic disease. Now 3 years old, the little girl is on her way to becoming taller than her older sister, and soon she will even surpass both of her parents. Can we live our lives as normally as possible without knowing we are carrying a 7-month-old child in our belly? This surreal question was asked in real life, and as you will see on this sequence, the answer is just as unusual. Lavinia Monga, a 38-year-old American woman, had no idea that she was pregnant when she took the plane on Wednesday, April 28th. During the flight from Salt Lake City to Honolulu, the young woman experienced severe stomach cramps, which made her writhe in pain. Fortunately for her, a general practitioner and 3 qualified nurses were also on board the plane and were able to help Lavinia. But what a surprise it was for the young Hawaiian when the doctor of Providence informed her that she was delivering a premature baby in mid-air. The infant of barely 1.4 kilograms is finally out of her mother's belly, who gave him the name Raymond, and the last news, he was doing very well. You may know the Benjamin Button syndrome, a very rare genetic disease which makes children look like old people, but other affections are sometimes even more terrible and rarer, such as the disease of this poor 6-year-old girl. Named Olga Blessing, this cute little Nigerian girl is indeed suffering from a physical disorder that makes her look like a pregnant woman. Because of a malfunction of her heart valves, this little girl is condemned to having a protruding belly, which looks like a pregnancy at the 9th month of its term. Olga Blessing has to carry the same weight as a young adult woman, even though she was only 6 years old, which is a real ordeal every day. Fortunately, some kind soul sent her mother enough money to get her treated because her life was really in danger. And that's it for today. What do you think about these 10 totally unusual pregnancies? Which one of them impressed you the most? Tell us in the comments, and if you liked this video, don't forget to put a like and subscribe and activate the notifications. See you soon for new discoveries out of the ordinary.